such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. I almost hate to do this. But now we see that we are no longer allowed to question the mental fitness of Joe Biden. We're not allowed to say that what we see is not really what we see. And so on the Fox News channel, they got into the discussion of the senility, if that's a word, but the senile state of Joe Biden. So Brit Hume actually brings up the concept that Joe Biden has lost a step or two. And you'll see starting off, Harris Faulkner, I don't know what she's been drinking, but she says, Britt, you're not a doctor. You can't, well, let me let you.
No, all right, and in both those accounts, yours included in all of that, we are not doctors. And Maria, I want to get your response.
Yeah, I think for those of us who've worked with and know Joe Biden for a long time, this accusation that he's somehow senile or losing his mind is just so offensive. We are not doctors, Harris, and every time a Democrat talks about Donald Trump forgetting words, not being able to read from a teleprompter, making mistakes that anyone should not make in that position, Republicans jump all over us and they say, wait a second, you're not a doctor, you're not a therapist. So I think we need to be very careful in this election cycle not to throw around words like senile about people that we are watching on a television screen. And I think that for those of us who know Joe Biden, this is a very tricky subject, and we all should be very careful, which people have been telling me for years when we talk about Donald Trump. So let's just all be careful here, because that accusation is a pretty strong one.
Yeah, the accusation that what you see on television when it pertains to Joe Biden is a serious accusation. Britt Hume's a sharp cookie. Look how he responds.
Yeah, go ahead, Britt.
The word senile is not a medical diagnosis. It refers to people who at a stage in life exhibit signs of old age in terms of their memory and mental acuity. It's not something you need to be a doctor to notice. Joe Biden has it. To some extent, I have it. People our age do. And the question arises is whether a man of his age, who's starting in the way that people inevitably do late in life to lose it a bit, should be president of the United States. This does not require a team of psychologists and psychiatrists to come in and make a medical diagnosis. It is a reasonable layman's conclusion from the evidence that is very clear before us.
And he is absolutely right. I don't need to have an MD to recognize what I see. It is clear something ain't right. It is clear some marbles have been lost. It is clear some knives aren't as sharp. And we Christians, people of the Word, people of God, our God of truth guides us into all truth. The Holy Spirit does. It's clear. Now, again, I am not a Democrat or Republican. I am a social conservative. I'm also an economic conservative. And I don't care what letter you have behind your name. But I know what I see. And let me see if you see what I see. So let's see.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I love kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what, the men, they're now all men, the guys I work with down here, and they're all guys at the time. They're all good men. Most of them made an awful lot of themselves. And Earl Larkin had a rough time. And some of you knew Earl. I came back as a public defender.
Oh
my name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. I promise you, we're going to bring together Americans of every race, ethnicity, You only arrest for the purpose of dealing with a felony that's committed, and I don't count drunk driving as a felony. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Have you taken a cognitive
No,
test?
I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump?
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. Number one, I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. It would increase the GDP to sound like a wonk here. We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is clear what the Democrats are now going to do. They are going to make the issue of Joe Biden's mental acuity a non-issue by shaming anyone who pertains to who in the least brings up the idea that maybe Joe ain't all there, that maybe the knives aren't as sharp as it used to be, that maybe the deck don't have all 52, that maybe a few marbles then got lost. I mean, look, you saw what you saw, and the trick is going to be to tell you you're not a doctor. So don't believe what you see. The man at one point said he was running for Senate. Okay. Good gracious. And what in the heck did cockroaches have to do with kids jumping on your legs in a pool? Whatever. Look, you don't need to be a doctor. The man that lost a few, man, okay?
For such a time as this,